Well, good day, everybody. Here we are again. It's now the 21st of September, and if all goes well, that means it's Thursday. And I haven't had a look at the tracker at all. Usually, I give myself a briefing and I go through it all so I know what's going on. But we're still surprisingly quite busy here, running around doing all sorts of things. And it's all going well, so we're happy about that. We had a Cape Horners thing here last night. Everyone that's sailing in the Ocean Globe race that goes around Cape Horn will have the option to join the Cape Horners Association, and they have a big function here today. Cape Horners Hall of Fame. Every year now, six prominent people who are deserving of being considered as an important Cape Horner goes into the Hall of Fame. So there was a select dinner last night. There's a presentation today. There's drinks and so on. So a few things going on, all mixed up with the Class 650 Mini Transat, which starts this Sunday as well. And it's overcast and raining at the moment. It's all a bit crazy weather. So the fleet's having a good time. They're still talking about food. Interesting tweet from Translated. They cracked 19 knots in a surf, which is pretty good. Everyone's having, certainly the leaders are having great sailing. They're in the northeasterly trades. And a couple other things, big dramas on Maiden. They've run out of cheese. So that happens. The other good one was Bertrand on Neptune. He's feeling invincible, apparently, which is a good thing. Because of the Spinnaker up and Neptune everywhere, they've got a great logo on their Spinnaker, so he's on top of the world, which is really good to hear. So a great story anyway, and certainly we're getting some interesting videos from the entrants that have got the ability to transmit videos and photos. There's some epics. Another little ironic story from Evrika. Evrika sent 9 fantastic photos. That's actually a phone. Hang on a sec. Can you get that, Ginger? We have, that's one of our important phones. Just stand by. Yeah, okay. Believe it or not, I'm working 6 mobile phones, or we are as an organisation, and each of the phones is relatively important. We have 2 emergency lines, which are used for crisis management, emergency 1 and 2. Then we have 2 hotlines, which are important for various things. Some of these numbers are confidential. And so we know what's going on. They have different ringtones and bits and pieces. But anyway, that one's now sorted. So now I've lost track. Photos. Yeah, Evrika sent 9 fantastic photos. They are really epic. Sadly, though, we have restrictions on the media that we allow, and they're only actually allowed to send 3 photos a week. So it's a bit of a dilemma because they'll no doubt have some more good photos coming through. And this whole subject about what we do allow and what we don't allow with the use of the satellites and satellite communications is feeling our way a little bit, but also trying to keep in the context of what is effectively the idea of a retro race back to the way it was in 73. And in 73, they didn't have access to this sort of level of satellite communications. So I'll explain it, and I may have done this before. I know I did it in the question and answer section the other day before we had our first Medivac. The first consideration was that when we moved from the Golden Globe into the Ocean Globe race, and you've got currently about 156 sailors out there sailing the ocean, it's very exposed. The potential for risk and accidents is real. Everyone understands that. And in an emergency, it was very clear to me that we had to allow a photographic opportunity to send photographs via satellite for emergency situations. And ironically, that's exactly what happened this week with Triana. It was very advantageous to be able to send a photograph of the wound back to MSOS and TMAS so they could assess what it looked like. There were quite graphic photos, detailed photos. And so that concept worked. And then having accepted that we were going to allow satellite pictures for management purposes, okay, we'll give them 2 photos, a week. And that'll be cool for the media and flying people. And then in the end, with a bit of pressure, we thought, what's the difference between 2 and 3? So we've actually allowed now 3 photos a week. And of course, so we've nailed it on the head. Then what happened with media? They said, there's a lot of pressure with video and all this sort of stuff. So we did allow a year or so ago, we said, okay, we will add the addition of 3 minutes of video, thinking that they would be 3 minutes of raw video clips, right? Just boom, boom, that's it, which is not such a big deal. Of course, that's now been stretched to the limit because then in the preceding months, we decided, okay, we will allow you to have one computer on board, and that can be used for sub-editing the footage. So at least they make the most of the 3 minutes, and there's some pretty serious stuff coming. But it's very strict on that laptop. There's nothing else allowed on it. You can't have music files. You can't, use it for typing and, all this sort of stuff, because there's no computers allowed. So then, of course, all the entrants are trying to tweak it to the nth degree. And so when Penjuic sent their first video clip in last week, there was a bit of a video at the end which included a word processed document, with using a computer to type the words, and there's the thing. And we said, sorry, you can't do that, because that's using the computer. And also the edit that came back had music on it. I said, that music's not meant to be on the computer. That was clear for many, many months. There's nothing else on it. So we had to knock the music out, because if there's music there, others can listen to it. That's not part of the deal. It's on cassette tapes, So no music on the videos anymore. And we didn't allow any use of the computer to send text back. We had allowed, and in the briefing, only the week before the start, the suggestion was put that could we, write a message and send it back by photograph. We sort of, gee, it was not the original intention, but it's a photograph. That's fine. So we allowed that, but it was very clear: no computers, handwritten, photograph, boom. Not a photograph in a video. Otherwise, you could write a whole book and just run the video, boom, and it's not what the videos were meant for. So we banned that as well. So we haven't changed any rules. Okay, everything's very clear, and it's part of the course. But now I've got to say, gee, even I looking at the pictures, and I know why they sent 9, because they're epic. They got, anyway, and you'll see 3 of them come this week, and then Evrika's team will have to decide whether they, want to use another 3 on this next week's session and so on. But that's just a brief explanation how it works. It's a balancing act, and I think we've got it right with 3 photos and 3 minutes of video, and it'll never be more than that, because I can tell you now, we are feeling our way with this, and I can assure you in 2027 there will never be any more than 3 minutes of video, and there will never be more than 3 photos, because that's stretching the boundaries, but that's it. And the process of how they do it is all under control. So we work hard to make sure there's no open internet connection, and everything can get lost in the woodwork. Anyway, back to the tracker. That's what we all came to see. So here we go. I've got to get on here. Now, we've discovered a new problem with this show. First of all, you might have noticed we did the short intro, but we're doing another short intro that we use. When we do these lives, we have a long intro sometimes, so that people who know it's coming can get on live, but most people are watching this tracker as a replay, so we don't need that long intro. I had a nice comment from group sailing something rather, I forget, and so we've decided to change that to a shorter one. So here's the tracker, and the other problem we've got here now is we're just working. We can't show you the leaderboard. If I get the leaderboard, we realized this the other day, we're looking at trying to sort this out, but I haven't had a chance to concentrate on it yet, but I will hopefully overnight, and we can start pulling information on that as well. So we got an update from Godspeed. You've probably seen that. They're working on the boom. They're hoping to get out of there from sometime today, which will be really good if they can. We haven't assessed the penalty. They will face a penalty for breach of communication rules, and also assistance in port. We had a chat with Taylor yesterday on the phone. Everything's good. They just want to get back in the hunt and enjoy the challenge and adventure, which will be good to see. Once they're underway again, then the file is sort of shut in terms of information that we've got, and we will then assess under the notice of race what their status will be. But they'll certainly be back in the event, and we will notify everyone officially once we've decided on that. So right now there's a bit of a hole here for the tail enders. And Stern is still doing okay, so they might have more breeze than it's showing there. They'll have their spinnakers up 7.2 knots, 170-mile day, which is not too bad, and they're ranking 13th in the fleet, 4th in adventure class. But they are enjoying the ride. They sent an interesting tweet saying having a ball. Evrika doing 6.2, still in amongst this lighter wind situation, 134 miles in the day, all's well on board. When I watch their onboard video, jeepers, they're really, compare that to an Amoka. It's a bit different, to say the least. So enjoying the ride there. White Shadow, they're trying to drive hard, but they're frustrated with the breeze. They're really on the hunt here, and everyone's happy on board. 6.2 knots, 105 nautical miles for the day. Not a lot, but okay. Explorer can't make up their mind what they want to do, altering course. There's something really interesting here, and I'll explain it when we get further to the front. But the straighter you can keep your course and alter your sails instead, the faster you're going to go to the finish line. And so when you see a zigzag course like this, unless there's a specific reason, you got to question why they're doing it. They would normally be much better off just trying to hold a straight line and continue to Cape Town, because when you're not sailing towards the mark, you're going slow in your VMG, your vector made good towards the finish, or your speed made good, the velocity made good. So when this might be too small to see, I should pick this up. So you can see Explorer's course all over the ocean here and down there. The others are pretty much going straight line, and that will become obvious in a minute when I talk about some more. Anyway, doing 4.4 knots, obviously enjoying smoked salmon for breakfast again, and making 86 nautical miles, so it was not too bad. However, Galliana has sailed straight past them, doing 5.1 knots, and they've gained heaps in the last couple of days on the whole lot. So driving hard as they always do. 122 nautical miles. Conditions are very benign there with that color gradient. They've got 10 to 15 knots. Not a lot you can do with it, and it would be probably patchy. It's very hard when it's sort of like these areas of color in here and generally pretty open. That means the pressure gradient of the pressure system there is a bit fluky, and it's hard to predict. So this may be completely wrong. These patches, they could be completely wrong. So Galliana could have got more breeze and so on. So all interesting. Now, Outlaw doing pretty well. They got plenty of breeze there, and they're going to go for the wind squeeze between Las Palmas, or between the two islands there, no doubt. 7.7 knots and 157 nautical miles in the last 24 hours. Looking at this, you can see that this is absolutely the range of the northeasterly trades. So she's in the trades. Galliana's about to hit it, and you'll see her pull away from the other three in the mid-pack there. As soon as she reaches there, she'll get a jump again. So, Outlaw's doing pretty well. And I'll just pick this up again to look over here. Oh, in fact, Neptune's the one. Neptune was kind of interesting. I'm wondering whether they were, when you do, these northeast trades do usually extend on an angle like that, okay? And they entered it pretty much in the right spot to make the most of it coming down. And often you get a squeeze of the wind when it sort of bounces off the land. Sounds funny, but it actually does that. And there was some good pressure there when they came through this gap. And that could have been a tactical move for them. I think they understand the principles of what goes on here, and that's given them a big kick. So currently doing 9.6, and again they're just entering an area of colour, which is more pressure, but they are starting to pull away from the coast. 174 nautical miles. That's very good compared to the rest of the fleet up there. So not too bad. Having said that, here's the Spirit Equipped right over the other side, still doing well. Still sailing a straight line on course, and 188 miles in the last day, 8.5 knots, nothing wrong with that. But the leaders are absolutely pulling away from them. You can't quite catch them. Let's see how far away these guys are. We just go here down to here. Yeah, 304 now. So, yeah, this lead group of boats is actually pulling away from both Neptune and the Spirit Equipped. They've definitely got a break on them a bit, probably because they reach the trades first. And Marie is definitely normally I'd say lifted the skirt and gone for the boat, but it's a he, so he pulled up his pants and taken off. And this is exact conditions they want. With this colour through here, that's bordering on sort of 25 to 30 knots of trade winds. Once you get the colour here, it kicks in 28 knots, 30 knots, really solid stuff. Sea state will probably be, before I predict it, I'll have a look, I'm going to cheat. Okay, it's probably going to be 3s and 3s, maybe even 4. Okay, yeah, that's about right. They're still reasonably solid in here, building up. So that's 3 to 4 metre seas, great for surfing, but not too uncomfortable because the wind's all behind them. All the currents should be pretty much following the fleet. Yeah, there's no head currents in this part of the world. It's pushed along by the breeze itself. Cloud-wise, oh, look at that beautiful sunshine. But Spirit of Helsinki's got a bit of cloud coming over. Let's see what this is saying. Yeah, very distinct there. Looks like some rain down the bottom in the doldrums. They're going to get there, but we won't talk about that yet until we see what's happening here. Okay, so Spirit of Helsinki cracked 19 knot surf today, 9.8 knot average over the last 4 hours, and 214 mile day. That's pretty cool. And Maiden run out of cheese and doing 8 knots, 214 miles in a day. That's very, that's okay. Nothing wrong with that. Translated 9.4, 241 in the day. So they had a big one. And in fact, it was Translated that did the surf. Sorry, not Helsinki. So Translated still running big time. And in the rankings, Translated first on IRC, first in flyer class, and second in line on us. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Those guys and girls are really, really working hard, I reckon. That's what you get with an Italian skipper. But so on Penjuic again, it was very interesting. I don't know whether Marie has actually released the text of her photograph. She sent a beautiful photograph with a handwritten letter now, with going around in circles around a drawing, which is great. We had a look at that, and she's saying some very interesting stuff there about the mentality on board the boat, how they're all really see it this is a race, absolutely a race, which we all know, but it's just the mentality, the ethos. It was a very good read. Anyway, when they put that up, we'll share what we do, generally speaking, when the crews make the effort to send a video, the video goes straight to the team, and we wait until the team puts it up so they can break the news on what's happening, and then after that we'll put it up, either share it onto OGR, or when we see they've used it, we'll put it up on Facebook. We're not saying we'll do that every time, but usually that's what we propose to do. And the same with the text. When Marie puts her text up somewhere, we give them a couple of days to do that, but we'll still share it with OGR, because we did the translation and so on, and it is pretty cool. So they're Penjuic's having a lot of fun, but they're so fast, they're going to be the first ones into the zone, which is just the doldrums, which are just coming up, and even they were not fearing it, but she wrote an interesting piece about how she understands more than many the challenges ahead. So here's Penjuic. I'll put the grids on so you can see what's happening, and I'll give you another quick explanation of how the whole gamble of the doldrums actually works, the interconvergence zone here. So this is 10 degrees north. It's above the equator. Here's the equator, and this is where the doldrums hang out. And what I'm going to do is I'll just explain. This is what we've got now, obviously. Hang on, got to get this down a bit now. And the doldrums, there's little, I call them snakes and ladders here, which give you a chance. If you get on the right one, if you were going north, you could hook onto this, around there, and you're right. But at the moment, it's just got the trades, and then you're going to come down here and bang, there's challenges. And let's just see. I'm going to push this forward just to give you an idea of how it changes. Okay, every one of these is an hour, and so we've now gone through. We're nearly up to 24 hours, and you can see this hole in front of in front of Penjuic moved around a lot in that 24 hours. So it looks like they might drive into a hole. This ladder here is all in the wrong direction. So they're not going to do much good with that, but they're not going to be there in that first 24 hours. So you can see this is day and a bit. And again, Marie may be getting the weather faxes to give her an idea of what's happening. The others will be arriving at the doldrums around about when it looks like this in a day and a half. And you can see then, this is a day and a half away. Marie, and this, all of a sudden, she picks up a breeze and rolls through. But also Translated may well be on this ride here as well. I'm going to make this a bit bigger so you can see it a bit better, because they're coming down in this direction. Let's just see how far down now. That'll be about 300 miles. Yeah, so Neptune's going to be down around here by the time... No, Translated will be down around here, so still riding it down. Marie may be down here somewhere as well, still riding it down at that point. This is 2 days out, so they could get lucky. And yet if if Spirit of Helsinki is over here somewhere, you can see it's completely different weather, all sorts of things. So this is another area where it gets incredibly challenging. I'll keep moving that back here so you can just see what happens with the doldrums as we push it forward. It's changing rapidly, lots of thunderstorms, lots of lightning. Now there's a beautiful gap there to come down. If you hook onto that, you could ride this down quite a way. And then you'll see the next challenge they have once they get through the doldrums. So you're now looking at it. This is the 24th. So this is 3 days ahead. And by then, Helsinki could have picked up a bit, and the northeast trades now have gone right down to 10 degrees north. The same for Marie. If they were there 3 days later, but she might be past that then. You can see how it changes rapidly, and that can help a lot. Anyway, the next challenge is that you hit the southeasterly trades, right? So you've got the southeasterly trades down here, all rocking up, all driven by the South Atlantic weather. And when you get there, they hook up around into the doldrums. So the first thing that happens is you get the headwinds, and you've got to decide to go port or starboard. Usually you try and favour to the east here, so that if you decide when you get over to the east, and hopefully you get through it around about here, you have the option to pick a course that's going to take you around the traditional trade wind route and cut across on port tack all the way down the coast here, and then slowly work your way around to Cape Town. Or, depending on the actual angle of the southeast trades, because generally it's southeast, but it could go to the east of southeast and be a bit flatter, or it could go to the south of southeast and be more on the nose. And most of these boats are good windward boats, except maybe, I'm not going to say Maiden isn't a windward boat, but it's certainly designed to perform extremely well downwind or reaching and running. But Penduic and certainly Translated are windward boats, so I'd be surprised if they didn't try to get through the trades here by pushing a direct course to Cape Town. Maiden, however, may take a more relaxed course to go for boat speed and come around and hook into Cape Town here. So there's a lot of stuff that's going to go on. I think it's enough for now. A lot of stuff's going to go on in the next week or so, trying to get through the doldrums. And as soon as you're through, when they hit the trades, where are they going to go? Are they going to go straight through the middle, or are they going to go the trade wind route and hook around that way? And that's got problems, but we'll talk about that later on as well. So generally, there's interesting things happen. One thing we didn't do was look at the weather for mid-fleet going forward. So I'm now just going to, I think you can all see the middle fleet here and what's going to happen. There's that trough going through Explorer and everything. So let's just push this through and see what's happening. There's not much happening at all. I think no doubt Tapio is going to get through with Galliana with Secure, and but then it goes soft again. Wow, there's not a lot of wind for the back of the fleet. For Godspeed, if she's back in, she'll hook onto this and drive straight down and stay in this corridor here maybe. But certainly this middle fleet's going to lose ground to the lead fleet. No question about that. And as we push through, yeah, it's not good. Godspeed will have the benefit of being able to look at the internet and see what the weather's going to look like for the next week or so while they're there before they leave, and they should realise they've got to take a track straight down the coast here in between the Canaries, and they should keep speed. But it's going to be a slow ride for the middle fleet. This is now through to 2 days ahead, 2 and a bit days ahead. So you can see lead fleet, fantastic. They're in the trades, gone. Middle fleet still struggling to get down there, but it's happening. Okay, I think that's it for me. So we'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow. It was great that Lutz had a good session with Sir Robin yesterday. That was always fun. He's here for the Cape Horners function. Always good to see him. And it's quite fun watching the Clipper feed as well. We like what Clipper do and the number of people they put through sailing. Robin was saying, he said yesterday as well, about 6,000 people. He's introduced to real ocean sailing around the world and stuff. So very cool. Okay, enough from me. We'll see you later on. Thanks.